Next off, we have Dr. Ani Kalayjian, speaking on behalf of, well, she's the founder and president of the Association for Trauma Outreach and Prevention. So let's welcome Dr. Kalayjian.
Ethno-religious conflict resolution and mediation is compromised when our heart is so clogged, when we're carrying not only our own trauma, but generations of trauma from beginning of this world and still continuing, as many of you mentioned. Our organization, Meaningful World, focuses on healing people, first of all, because traumatized people always attract energetically more trauma and want to create more trauma unconsciously, the research shows. The Meaningful World is an organization affiliated with the UN charitable organization that its goal is to nurture a generation of conscientious youth and individuals who are aspiring to resolve conflicts peacefully with forgiveness and love, empathy, and mindfulness. And we have this CD that's called Ancestral Healing. This one helps you, it's a meditation CD, helps you let go of the generational pain so your journey here becomes lighter and more joyous. We also have in the back too, the books are here on forgiveness. We introduce forgiveness to peace building departments and institutions and universities. This was the first time forgiveness was entering peace building departments through the American Psychological Association's Peace Division. Next, that's quickly. Next. We're having some difficulty, and we have 2 volumes on mass trauma and emotional healing around the world based on our research in 45 countries. Our affiliation with the UN. The objectives is, just for short, because the time is short, is to be mindful how much the past has affected us, to be mindful of the patterns that we are forming, and to overcome, as Thich Nhat Hanh says, seeing that we are the sun, we have to give up the candle's habit of fearing the wind. We keep having the fear generate wars while we don't need that anymore. We have evolved. We can go to the moon, but we cannot talk with one another. I come from, my father is an Ottoman Turkish genocide survivor, and there was, of course, more than 1.5 million Armenians, 1.2 million Greeks, and about 250,000 Assyrians and Gypsies that were annihilated during the World War I. And working with a lot of the Palestinian suffering. We were just there in May, working on conflict transformation with Jewish scholars, working with Holocaust survivors and the next generation, working with the Rwandan genocide survivers and being there personally, as well as going and finding mass graves in Bosnia during the 2007, and continue. And of course, our own, what Professor Charles mentioned, our own trauma that has left us broken. And until we resolve our own trauma, we will not be healed. And that's why it's important that we emphasize the healing component after such mass disasters. And my own friend's assassination in 2007, Hrant Dink, who was a journalist who wanted to create peace, but some extremist Turks could not understand that. So the genocide, in terms of our research, shows that it has tremendous impact on the survivors, even 75 years after the genocide. So it kept them always burdened with sadness and anger and keep them relive their past, traumatic past. Therefore, we created Armenian-Turkish dialogue groups that working on this issue of sitting and facing one another, looking at each other's eyes, seeing the pain, empathizing with the pain, empathizing with the Turkish side of not knowing because of the 99 years of political denial of the genocide. And the research on generational impact showed enormous transmission. The top 3 feelings, grief, sadness, and anger, we've seen in survivors, as well as second and third generation. And therefore, we founded a 7-step model that you have a copy. This is a model that came from our work in 45 different countries in the Caribbean, Africa, Middle East, Europe, and Asia. So it starts with basic assessment and really finding out, identifying the emotional intelligence. What are you feeling? What is really under the anger? Is it frustration, disappointment, guilt, or embarrassment? After identifying that, having a chance for you to discharge, like starting with morning pages where you write down and discharge, flush your emotional traumas and emotional distress. We are ready to flush our digestive system. We go to the bathroom, we shower, external cleansing, but we need internal emotional cleanse. And the next step is empathy and validation, which is key for healing after any trauma. From there, a la Viktor Frankl, the 4th step is learning the lesson, because when we don't, then we keep finding ourselves in front of wars. We're doing now more violent forms, drones, and other ways where we don't even have to face them. We just kill them because they're less than or otherness, dehumanizing them, finding excuses about justifying our causes, and shunning the other person's views and feelings. From there, gathering information, scientific information, being vigilant with data that we see, this enormous technological advancement. And then number 6 is to connect with ecology. It seems like we, also have this hatred with Mother Earth. Instead of building, taking care of it, and loving it, we find ways to destroy, cut trees, in my area, we have beautiful cliffs. They even blasted the cliffs to put high-rises. So it used to be cliffside. Now I say it's just side. I'm at the side. And, cliff is gone. And then, of course, what we did, some of the movements that are taken from chakra balancing, from yoga, from Tai Chi, because even when we talk and discharge, there's a lot that is stored in our body. And as Van der Kolk and many other researchers have proven, that our body keeps the score. So we can talk until we're blue in the face. If we're not moving the body, opening the energetic centers, then we'll be split, especially the heart. We have 3 energy centers above the heart and 3 below. So when you are angry, frustrated, ashamed, distressed, or whatever, your heart is clogged, you are split into 2 pieces. And you wonder why you keep falling or turning your ankle or having different accidents, because there's no energy going to your extremities. And this is something we need. There are many other different examples I can give, but because of time, I'm going to rush through. And the remedies and so on. Now let's go to the film, because in the film, we're going to talk a little bit about these steps. One by one, how we work in the field with the survivors. This is an example of Haiti, what we witnessed in Haiti just in June of this year, which was our 8th time going there. Let's just check the volume. So, well, I'm sorry, the volume, I don't know what happened. There's no volume. So, imagine that you wake up and it's 100 degrees with 100-degree humidity and the sweat is running down your face. And imagine you're walking around, the old rubbish, trash is burned all around, you can hardly breathe. Imagine that you have governments and other communities saying that they sent money specifically for relief, but you've seen none of that. And the recent epidemics of chikungunya that comes from that mosquito that keeps people lethargic for 3 weeks with high fever and with no specific remedy. This is all, imagine also when they start rebuilding and everything shakes around you and you go back to that 2010 day, the earthquake, where we have no... So what we have done is that for the past 4 years, we have been going there once or twice a year and helping with the healing process by helping them find a way to discharge this trauma, both human-made and natural. They had double trauma there. And it was very, very disheartening to see that there's still new building is just starting now, 4 years after the earthquake. Finally, the rubbles are picked up, and finally, people are able to have pseudo-normal life. Many still are unable to get back to their homes. There are some temporary homes available, but still there are people under tents. And situation where they feel more and more hopeless and distrusting of the others. So we started establishing with them, first of all, catharsis, so they can discharge and let go of all their traumas. In the beginning, they were very hesitant because they have been such indoctrinated in this religious fear that if they complain because it was natural disaster, then God is going to burn them in hell. So every time we asked how they were feeling, they would say, hallelujah, praise the Lord, Jesus Christ. Well, after 4 days of Jesus Christ, hallelujah, morning to night, we started crying. When we started crying, then they saw that, oh, okay, professionals can also have feelings, and it's okay to cry. And that's when the discharge and true catharsis started being revealed and released, and then our work began to go a little more smoothly as they were able to discharge. They were also able to make insights. They were able to learn the lessons, reflect on what this means to them in a positive way. And then we started the Peace and Forgiveness Gardens that we have started other parts of Africa and Middle East, a symbolic place where people of all differences and all parts can come to this garden. And the garden has a specific herbs, just like the ones you have, lavender and citrus, and rose, rose is also wonderful to open the heart, as well as mustard, that is for releasing any anger and revenge and negative feelings. So these aromas and the forgiveness garden itself, going there to meditate, reflect, and find a solution, a positive reframing of your situation, and positive, finding the silver lining of your troubling day, and then relaxing, meditating, or praying, whatever you choose to do, and then leaving that area. So it was a very, very successful initiative, the garden, because it would remind them. We would have them at universities, at different clinics, in front of hospitals, and we're now encouraging that the community start embracing this idea. But the community is very fragmented, so we started then working on starting neighborhood associations. They didn't have that. They were like, why would we pick up the garbage? You know, there's like trash everywhere. And I said, it's because that trash is affecting you energetically, you know, aesthetically. You know, how can you feel like you can open your heart and take a deep breath around all the piles of trash and dirt? So the whole consciousness about how we shape our environment, and then the environment shapes us and makes us to what we are. Also, using the physical movements, some of the ones you did now, but it was just the heart, but we do the entire 7 energy centers, chakras, to open and release and ground ourselves in deeper environmental values that are sustainable, values such as forgiveness, love, sharing, and sacred activism, giving back to the community, all the values that are important to build the humanity and raise the consciousness of our humanity rather than work on differences. Because let's face it, if there is no religious differences, we find other differences, east side, west side, south, north. Even in a small Armenian community, which is pretty homogeneous, we find other things. You from Kilis, that place in Anatolia that's not even Armenia now, it's Turkey. Oh, and you are from Marash, that's next door, like 2 towns. And they become, the other, for example. So this is something psychologically that we need to embrace, that this insecurity, this ego insecurity that we have, that we need to see someone less than, and think that we're gathering greatness or great feeling from that, but there is no great feeling. We do that in terms of putting each other down. Like there's a dearth of research about horizontal violence. Not only 2 groups put each other down, then the same group internalizes this and puts one another down. Horizontal violence has been researched with African American and Latin American communities, minorities that are subjected into ghetto-ish neighborhoods here in America. How many of you have heard the horizontal violence? Wonderful, about half of the people. It's basically when the oppressor is oppressing a group of people or individual, and this pressure builds up in the group and individual, and this group tries to communicate, collaborate, or find a way to resolve it, but there is no end, as I think Victor or Charles, someone said, how governments are the ones, the main killers, and one of the major issues that governments are not transforming their philosophies and approaches. Only in technology, how they can kill better, but not in shifting and saying what other tools do we have to change this and how can we best resolve this. Being mindful that this trauma created is impacting 7 generations to come. So since we don't have volume, let's go back to the PowerPoint and show the last 3 slides that are valuable to this message. You can skip through that. Expression of feelings, we talked about that. It's based on psychodynamic principle. And it's interesting, we found out in many countries we had to feed them first before we can share any learning. They were starving and they were dehydrating. Many countries are so dehydrated. Haiti, Africa, they have no water, and the whole day they go in 100-degree weather. They don't drink water. There is no water. And we have to drink, if I don't drink water at least like 8 glasses, I feel like I'm dehydrated, and I feel lethargic and signs of dehydration. So when we observe these nations and we see them sitting around aimlessly, sunken eyes, lethargic and sunken skin, and vision that is not focused. It's like they're looking through you and they can't see you, and as if they're lost and they're not motivated. There's apathy, and I was going crazy. Why is everybody sitting like this? And then when we were dehydrated and felt how it feels on our own, in our own lives, and said, oh, wow, that's what it is. Thank you. That's what it is. It's dehydration. And right away when we came back from Haiti, We were dehydrated even though we were drinking water because the humidity was 100% and the temperature was 110. There's no AC, no fan, no electricity. So even though we were drinking, but we lost so much salt and electrolytes, the water sometimes even it's a danger because you're overworking the heart. So we found out a lot that we can use some help in hydrating these nations so that they can be more in health. And when we fed them, it's like they look like they haven't seen food for at least a week. And the way they were eating, I was scared they would choke. So I had to sit next to her and say, please, this is yours, don't worry. Nobody's gonna take it from you, just eat slowly, please. And then we talk about the different refugee status. You tell me about that. And then this is our work with the Syrian refugees in Jordan just past May. And here we are training the counselors in Jordan. And step 3 is empathy and validation. This is a la Harry Stack Sullivan, who says without empathy, there's no closure after any trauma. And then a la Viktor Frankl, the discovery of positive meaning. And he says, when we have a why to live, we can live with any how. Or as Nietzsche says, that which does not kill me makes me stronger. So learning on how I'm becoming a better human being going through this trauma. And doing catharsis in Congo, in Haiti, in Kenya. Then emphasizing on forgiveness and trying to separate for from giving so that we can really instill that idea that you're giving to yourself and not to the other. Stop your obsession with the other or the enemy. First, give the healing to yourself. And then step 5, connecting with, empowering ourselves with information, and in terms of how to forgive, the steps of forgiveness, how to increase our emotional intelligence, how to be aware of reframing skills and abilities, and then ecological consciousness, connecting with Mother Earth, being mindful that our environment shapes us and how we feel around trees that are protecting us. We learned in Haiti that sitting under an almond tree decreases your blood pressure and your stress. And we wanted to learn more of these indigenous practices in Africa, but these religious groups are very obsessive. Pentecostal, Jehovah's Witness, and the poorer nation, the more pressure, religious pressure in proselytization, and where elementary level of spirituality is practiced with fear. If you don't do this, you're going to burn in hell. That's all their majority, 80% of the people know. So spiritually, they're not evolved, so it's very challenging to introduce new situations. And the planting tree projects we have in Africa, you can donate $100 to plant a tree, or donate $100 to help a Haitian go to university for 4 years, University of Haiti. Forgiveness Peace Gardens as well, and the breath and energy balancing exercises, which we did the heart opening exercises. It would be wonderful if you can start taking yoga or Tai Chi, the Taekwondo, like exercises that work with breath and connecting our mind with the body. It's not about no pain, no gain, yeah, let's have muscles. It's about integrating our gifts and talents, mind, body, spirit, and ecology together. And next, we have our heart-to-heart circle. Actually, this is something that we can do right now, if you can stand up. Go on. Yeah, this one. So the last 2 slides, this is a sculpture made by a Native American in the Cathedral St. John the Divine. on 110th Street, and it's a human silhouette, and there is a large one and a smaller, 7 of them, including that red fetus. And the message is that in all of our deliberations, being mindful of what our actions and decisions cause and to the next, how transferred to the next 7 generations. As a famous quotation goes, pain that is not transformed, it's transferred to other generations. And our last slide here, next one. This is a wonderful valley in southern India, and has beautiful, colorful flowers, yellow, purple, orange, green, and red and white. And it's a work of one woman. Every spring she went to this valley and placed flower seeds and bulbs and enjoyed it for 25 years. She's now long have passed on. But the work, aesthetic beauty that is left behind for all of us, humanity, to enjoy all around the world through internet, and to be able to be mindful that, yes, there are different colors, but they are all in harmony, giving us the tapestry of richness and the beauty and differences that we can use as gifts and the opportunity to grow. My question for you is, where are your seeds? Where are your flower bulbs? And where are you placing them? Thank you so much.